My marketing degree is going to eventually make me a millionaire. And no, I don't mean that the piece of paper is somehow worth $1 million. The degree itself doesn't make you rich. But I think what I've gotten from my marketing degree and from the experience could eventually be worth far more than what I actually paid for it. Because when I look back at everything I've gotten from school, it's not just the education. It's the career opportunities, right? The people I've met, the connections I've made, the skills that I've developed, and honestly, learning how to put myself in a position where I can take advantage of opportunities when they come along. So in this video, I want to kind of explain why I believe my marketing degree could ultimately be one of the things that helps me become a millionaire. Now, let me get something out of the way first. I'm not saying that getting a marketing degree automatically makes you wealthy. That is definitely not the case, right? It does not. You can get a degree and still make horrible financial decisions. You can get a degree and never use what you learned, and you can absolutely become wealthy without going to university or college. The degree itself isn't the magic, it's what you do with the opportunity. So for me, studying marketing taught me a lot about business. I learned about branding, consumer behavior, advertising, strategy, communication, etc., and how businesses actually try to attract and retain customers. But I also learned things that aren't necessarily written in textbooks, right? How to manage deadlines, how to work with other people, how to present ideas, how to communicate professionally, like kind of those social aspects, which I think is super important. And also how to consistently show up and get things done. Those are skills that I've been able to take directly into my career. One thing I think gets overlooked when people talk about becoming wealthy, and that's your income. Everyone wants to talk about investing. What stock should I buy? What's the best ETF? What's going to go up? But if you're in your 20s and you're starting with a relatively small amount of money, increasing your income can potentially have a much larger impact on your financial life. If you go from making, say, $50,000 a year to $70,000, that's an extra $20,000 of gross income every year that, again, you can put towards investments, right? And if you continue increasing your earning potential over the course of your career, that gives you more money that you can potentially save and invest. And that's why I've focused so much on my career. I don't want my financial plan to simply be, hopefully my investments go up, right? I want to increase the amount of money I have available to invest. And my career is one of the biggest tools that I have to do that. Another huge part of university for me was the people. And this is something I think you can definitely underestimate when you're sitting in a classroom, right? Some people just go to the class and leave, and I did that sometimes. You're not just meeting classmates in these classrooms, you're meeting people who are eventually going to go work in different industries, right? People will maybe start a business, maybe they'll move into management, right? Or they'll meet other people. And you don't know where those connections are going to lead. I've had opportunities come to me because of people I met through school and through the network I've built since then. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned is you never know who is going to know someone, or you never know what someone is going to do with their lives, right? One conversation can lead to another conversation. That conversation can lead to an opportunity, and that opportunity can maybe lead to a job. And that job can completely change your income trajectory, right? And that's actually how I ended up getting a significant increase in my salary. I didn't just apply to a random job online. A connection reached out to me. We had a conversation, and eventually I received an offer. And that opportunity significantly increased my income. It was by like $13,000. And that's the power of having a network. And this brings me to another thing I think school taught me, which was how to recognize opportunities. There are opportunities around you all the time. But if you're not paying attention, it's easy to miss them. Maybe someone mentions a job or a business opportunity, or someone needs a skill that you happen to have, but you don't really talk about it, or somebody introduces you to somebody, whatever it is. You have to put yourself in environments where those opportunities can actually happen to you. And when they do happen, you need to be willing to actually take them. And I think my degree helped me with that mindset. Not because marketing teaches you how to become a millionaire, but because it put me in an environment where I was constantly learning about business, communicating with people, and thinking about opportunities. But getting my degree didn't mean I stopped learning. Honestly, I think that's where the really important education started, because nobody taught me everything I needed to know about personal finance in school, right? I had to learn that myself. I had to learn about investing, tax advantaged accounts, compound growth, lifestyle inflation, whatever it is, right? And I had to learn how to make the money I earn from my job actually work for me. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can actually do after getting an education, right? Some people think, okay, I'm done school, I'm done learning. But keep educating yourself, right? There's so much that you can learn. And while your degree, might teach you how to get into a career, you actually have to teach yourself what to do with the money you make from that career. Making $70,000 a year or whatever it is doesn't automatically make you wealthy, right? It's what you do with that, say, $70,000 a year that actually matters. And that's where my personal finance philosophy comes into this. As my income has increased, I've tried to not let my lifestyle increase at the same rate. I could spend more, I could buy a nicer car, more expensive watch, whatever it is. And, eventually I probably will enjoy more of the money I've worked for. But right now, I'm prioritizing the foundation of it. I'm investing, saving, increasing my earning potential, and trying to avoid lifestyle inflation because I don't want to look rich. I want to actually become wealthy. And I think that's where delayed gratification comes into play. Delayed gratification doesn't mean you can never enjoy your money. And, I don't want to spend my entire life saving every dollar and then just finally enjoy myself when I'm 70 and my body hurts. That's not the goal, right? The goal is to create a period of time where I'm willing to sacrifice some lifestyle upgrades now so that I can have significantly more options later, right? And maybe that means I'm investing more aggressively in my 20s, right? Like I definitely am. Maybe that means keeping the car I'm driving right now for a bit longer. Maybe it means living in a house that, isn't as expensive as what I could technically afford, but, still enjoying that. Because, I want that lifestyle to be funded by wealth that I've already built, right? Not by debt, not by pretending that I'm richer than I am, and not by constantly needing my next paycheck to maintain the life that I've created. So when I say my marketing degree will make me a millionaire, I'm not talking about the degree itself or the piece of paper, right? I'm talking about that chain reaction. My degree helped me build knowledge. That knowledge helped me build skills. Those skills helped me get the opportunities that I have today. And those opportunities helped me build a career, right? My career generates income, and my network has and will continue, hopefully, to create more opportunities for me. And I'm taking that income I'm generating and learning how to invest it. And then I'm giving those investments decades to potentially compound. So that's kind of like the real equation behind it, right? It's, education leads to skills, which leads to opportunities. Those opportunities led to income. Income goes into investing, and investing begins to compound. And if I can continue doing that for decades to come, I think becoming a millionaire is a very realistic goal. So if you're currently in school, don't think of your education as simply, I'm getting a degree so I can get a job. And that's what most people probably think, right? But think bigger than that, right? Build relationships, learn skills, understand business. Even if you're not in a business degree, understand it. Because honestly, the way I see it is everything is a business today, right? Like whether you say, for example, you're going to school to be a vet, right? You're going to go work at a business, right? So it's important for everyone to learn how businesses work. Take opportunities, build your network, and when you eventually start earning money, learn how to manage it. That is probably the biggest thing, because your income is only one part or one aspect of building wealth. What you do with that income is just as important, if not more important, right? And I don't know exactly when I'll become a millionaire, right? I could kind of project it, but I don't know exactly what my career will look like 10, 20, or, 30 years from now. But I know what I'm going to keep doing, and I'm going to keep learning, right? I'm going to keep increasing my earning potential, keep investing, living below my means, and, giving myself time, being patient with it. So maybe my marketing degree won't literally make me a millionaire, but the skills, relationships, opportunities, and career it helped create, those are going to. So hopefully you guys were able to take something away from the video today. If you enjoy content like this, please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.